Hi everyone, today I'd like to discuss how exhibits at the local Milwaukee Public Museum show how culture and the environment influence movement and posture. First, culture is fundamental to understanding human behavior, with one specific form of behavior being locomotion or movement. The museum showed multiple examples of different forms of human movement, including running, walking, and the form that I would like to discuss here, dancing. The museum is home to a permanent display of the traditional Wisconsin woodland powwow, which shows Native American cultural dance customs. One component of each tribe's culture represented in this exhibit was music, and the speed of which determines the temporal variables of movement while dancing. For example, a faster beat to music could lead to decreased dance and double limb support time, decreased stride duration, and increased cadence. Each of these variables would affect how long and how often each individual needed to balance or keep their center of gravity over one limb at a time. Each tribe's culture is also represented here with vibrantly colored dance attire. Most commonly, clothing was often made of thick, dense material, making it challenging for the Native Americans to perform quick, broad, and smooth gestures with their bodies. The heavier the Native American dress was, the more the distance variables of movement were also affected, such as by decreasing stride and step lengths and increasing width of walking base, in order to improve stability under the heavy load during movement. In our culture, often people are self-conscious about expressing their heritage and dancing in public. However, we do use similar forms of movement in order to honor or remember people or specific events in our history, and we do this through community walks or road races. Next, the environment plays a critical role in influencing human posture by forcing the body to adapt in order to protect itself and conserve energy. As you can see in the pictures of the Eskimo in the Arctic Circle exhibit, individuals typically alter their posture in cold environments compared to a warmer area. They do this to protect themselves from the stress of the cold and try to reduce energy expenditure of holding up heavy fur coats. In particular, these Eskimos have a forward head position with cervical flexion and shoulder protraction. They are also flexing anteriorly at their hips, moving their center of gravity more anterior within their base of support. This helps them in their risk of falls because if their feet slide out from underneath them and they begin to fall backwards, their center of gravity will remain above their base of support longer since it was located more anterior to begin with. As a result of this posture, the trunk extensor muscles like the erector spinae and the hip extensor muscles like the gluteus maximus must increase activation in order to produce trunk and hip flexor moments to counteract the flexion moments from the held posture. Also, the Eskimos not only need to adapt their posture to their environment when in a static position, trying to stay rigid to avoid slipping on ice and snow, but also in dynamic functional positions. They still need to be able to hunt and provide food for their families, which often comes at a price of maintaining a strained posture like in this display with the lateral neck flexion and rotation. These can be difficult positions to hold in side lying while trying to reach and spear forcefully for food because the neck muscles like the upper trapezius and sternocleidomastoid muscles need to have a lot of strength and endurance to maintain that posture. Although in our culture we do not have to survive every day in a frigid cold environment or hunt for our food, we still exhibit similar postural strategies to the Eskimos just because we are in school all day. The demands placed on our bodies, such as staring at a computer screen or working on assignments over a desk, contribute to our forward head posture, our shoulder protraction, and our trunk flexion as well. This just goes to show that posture is something everyone can improve on, because many different environments lead to the same compensations in how we hold our bodies during daily activities. My experience at the Milwaukee Public Museum showed me the importance of looking at non-mechanical influencers like culture and the environment on movement and posture. Often as PT students, we forget to look beyond just straight science and exact answers, and we have a hard time accepting the gray area that is physical therapy. However, we need to remember that all of our patients are individuals, and they each come from unique cultures and live in different environments that will influence the treatment that we give them and how they progress throughout their time with us.